Today's story is based on a true real-life story. We shall entitle it The $120 Billion Bet. It is a story of how Bill Gates' bold move made Steve Ballmer a fortune. It's 1980. Microsoft is still a small software company, ambitious, but far from the tech giant we know today. Bill Gates is building something revolutionary, but he knows he's missing one key piece. He needs someone who isn't just smart, but someone who can energize the company, push the boundaries, and turn Microsoft into a business powerhouse. Enter Steve Ballmer. At the time, he was just another Harvard student. But Gates saw something different in him, something that most people overlooked. And that's when he made a decision that, decades later, would turn a simple 4% stake into a $120 billion fortune. Enter Steve Ballmer. At the time, he was just another Harvard student. But Gates saw something different in him, something that most people overlooked. And that's when he made a decision that, decades later, would turn a simple 4% stake into a $120 billion fortune. The Harvard encounter that changed everything. Let's rewind to 1976. Bill Gates is already making waves at Harvard, brilliant, analytical, obsessed with computers. But there's another name catching attention on campus. Not for his coding skills, not for his technical genius, but for his raw energy. Steve Ballmer wasn't the quiet, introverted genius like Gates. He was a force of nature, loud, charismatic, and impossible to ignore. People said, "Ballmer is a lot like you, Bill." Curious, Gates went to see him at a Harvard football game, and what he saw left a mark. Ballmer wasn't even playing. He was on the sidelines, shouting, hyping up the team, and rallying the entire crowd. At that moment, Gates knew, this guy is different. The Harvard encounter that changed everything. Now, let's rewind to 1976. The crisp autumn air buzzed with energy at Harvard, the kind of energy that comes from thousands of students, each fighting to carve out their own place in the world. Among them was Bill Gates, young, brilliant, obsessed with computers. He wasn't interested in football games or social circles. He was laser-focused on code, algorithms, and the future of software. But then, one day, someone caught his attention, not for his programming skills, not for his technical genius, but for something completely different. Raw, unstoppable energy. The loudest man in the room, his name? Steve Ballmer. Ballmer was everything Gates was not. Where Gates was quiet and analytical, Ballmer was loud and commanding. He wasn't just another Harvard student, he was a force of nature. His booming voice echoed through lecture halls. His confidence filled entire rooms. People around campus would say, "Ballmer is a lot like you, Bill." At first, Gates wasn't sure what they meant. So one day, out of curiosity, he went to see Ballmer in action. Not in a classroom, not in a coding lab, but at a Harvard football game, the moment that changed everything. Picture this. The crowd is roaring. The players are battling it out on the field. But Gates isn't looking at the game. His eyes are locked on the sidelines. Because there, in the thick of it all, is Steve Ballmer. Not playing, not coaching, but commanding the entire crowd. He's shouting, he's jumping, he's rallying everyone with an intensity that seems almost superhuman. And in that moment, Gates sees it. This guy, this loud, intense, magnetic force, is different. He isn't just passionate, he isn't just enthusiastic. He has something special, something that could change everything. The lesson, the power of unexpected encounters. Think about this. Have you ever had a moment, just a normal moment, that ended up shaping your entire life? Maybe it was the day you met your spouse, not realizing they would be the love of your life. Maybe it was a chance encounter with a mentor, someone who saw something in you that you never saw in yourself. Or maybe it was a doctor who finally gave you the answer to a lifelong health struggle. That's exactly what happened here. Bill Gates didn't go looking for Steve Ballmer, but he recognized something when he saw it. A moment that seemed small, watching a guy yell on the sidelines, would go on to help build one of the most powerful companies in the world. So, the real question is, are you paying attention to the unexpected encounters in your life? Because sometimes, the biggest blessings come in the most unexpected ways. And when they do, will you recognize them? The offer that changed everything. If you have something you need so badly, you make an offer which can't be rejected. What would Bill Gates offer the man he badly wants? This brings us to 1980. Microsoft is still young, growing, but far from the tech giant we know today. Bill Gates, now fully in control of his company's direction, knows exactly what's at stake. He's got the vision, he's got the technology, but he still needs one more thing, the kind of leadership that could turn his startup into a business empire. And he knows exactly who he wants: Steve Ballmer. The same Steve Ballmer he had watched command an entire stadium back at Harvard. The same Steve Ballmer whose energy could light up an entire room. The same Steve Ballmer who had the kind of aggressive business instincts that could take Microsoft to the next level. But there's a problem. Balmer is on a different path now. He's working at Procter & Gamble, one of the most respected companies in the world. His future is secure, the paycheck is steady, the corporate ladder is waiting for him to climb. Why would he leave all that behind for a risky software startup? The decision that changed everything. Bill Gates wasn't about to lose Steve Ballmer to the safe, predictable world of corporate America. He knew Ballmer wasn't just another business hire. He wasn't just another smart guy in a suit. Ballmer was a game changer. And game changers, they don't work for salaries. They work for stakes. So Gates didn't just offer him a job, he made him a bet. Come work for Microsoft. Be my right-hand man. Help me turn this company into something huge. And in return, not just a paycheck, not just a title, but 4% ownership of Microsoft. Now let's step back for a second. At the time, Microsoft wasn't a billion-dollar empire. It wasn't even a sure bet. That 4%, it wasn't the golden ticket it is today. It was just a slice of a small startup, one that could either change the world or completely crash and burn. Balmer had a choice to make: stay in the comfort of corporate America, or take a leap on a company that hadn't even hit its full stride yet. He took the risk, and it changed his life forever. From startup to business titan. From the moment Balmer stepped into Microsoft, he was unstoppable. He wasn't just another executive, he was a force of nature. He pushed aggressive sales strategies. He rallied the team with his unmatched energy. He turned Microsoft into a corporate machine. And guess what? It worked. Microsoft exploded. By the time the year 2000 rolled around, Balmer had done so much for the company that Gates handed him the keys to the kingdom. He became CEO. For 14 years, he led Microsoft through some of its toughest battles: tech booms, crashes, competition. And then in 2014, when he finally stepped down, he still had that 4% stake. But by then, it wasn't just 4% of a small startup anymore. It was 4% of a $1 trillion empire, and it was worth over $120 billion. The bet that built an empire. Think about that for a second. What started as a random college friendship became one of the greatest business partnerships in history. What started as a 4% offer turned into one of the biggest paydays in corporate history. What started as a risky job switch made Steve Ballmer one of the richest men on the planet. And Microsoft, it became a global powerhouse, a company that shapes technology, business, and the world. All because Gates saw the right person. All because Balmer took the leap. And all because one bold decision turned into $120 billion. What's your 4% bet? Now here's the real question. What opportunity are you sitting on today that could be your game changer in the future? Maybe it's a business idea you're too scared to start. Maybe it's a job offer that feels risky but could change everything. Maybe it's a relationship, a partnership, a decision that seems small right now, but could be your greatest move ever. Because here's the truth. The biggest opportunities don't come wrapped in certainty. They come wrapped in risk. And the ones who take them, they're the ones who change their lives. And sometimes, change the world. If you found this inspiring, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the next $120 billion decision might just be yours.